All right, welcome everyone to the District 9 Combined Area Contest for Areas A, B, and D. I am happy to present to you our Toastmaster for this evening's contest, Mark Havens. Please give a warm welcome to Mark. Yay!
Thank you all. Welcome everyone. Following protocol, can you hear me, Karen, or everyone else? Anyone? Good. I can be heard. Welcome everyone to our virtual contest, spring contest for a combined all of the areas of divisions A, B, and D. Hasn't been done before. Second year that our contests have been virtual, and hopefully the last. So we'll have virtual contests at every level, area, division, and district. And once again, hopefully never again as virtual. I am invited to read the etiquette protocols for this contest. I will recite them very slowly because I'm a very slow reader. So here it is. By attending this remote speech contest, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International. Judges intentionally have their video off and have renamed themselves to judge number whatever to protect their anonymity. Judges in speech contests are anonymous. All other functionaries, meaning the helpers in the contest, please rename yourself to your role and then your name. I guess I have myself backwards, my name and my role. I will change that or reverse that when I have a chance. Number 3, please refrain from using the chat box so that the chat box is not distracting to our speakers. Use it only in the case of an emergency. The Zoom master, who is Karen Mobley, will be monitoring the chat box for any emergency communications. She will also be opening the breakout rooms as needed. If you are not the person speaking, please mute yourself. We want to give full attention to the speakers without any background noise. And speaking of that, I'd invite you also to turn your phone off, your cell phone off, as we do in a live club meeting, so that even if your speaker's on, it's not going to ring or interrupt you or bother anyone. All audience members, except the speaker and timer, should turn off their video and remove profile pictures, if you can, during the contest. The contestants will be speaking essentially to a black screen so that nothing that happens in the background of your room, like a dog or cat running in or something like that, will be distracting whatsoever. At the very, very end, when we do interviews, when the contests are over, we'll invite people to turn on their cameras and we can see everyone's smiling face. But otherwise, leave your cameras off unless you are the person speaking or the timer or another important role. If the entire contest has severe technical issues, I think the weather is okay around the inland Northwest, but if there were severe technical issues where the chief judge determines that the contest can no longer continue, then the chief judge will make that determination, end the contest, and it will be rescheduled. And you can see the chief judge's box on your screen. If a single contestant has technical issues, the chief judge will pause the contest, the timer will pause the stopwatch, and the contestant is allowed to fix the issue within a 3 to 5 minute time period. This can happen 3 times during their speech, and after that they are disqualified. When the technical problem, such as being disconnected from the internet, when it's fixed, the speaker continues from the moment they got disconnected. They cannot start over. Just where they got disconnected, they continue. And finally, During the contest, as with an in-person contest, there will be 1 minute of silence after each speaker to allow the judges to work on their judging sheets. After the final speech, 2 minutes of silence or more at the end of each contest to finish those sheets. And then at the end of each contest, evaluation and international speech contest, the judges will move into a breakout room with the ballot counters to count the results. The timer number one, we do have 2 timers. Timer number 1, I'll ask you to time that 1 minute and then two minutes break period, moment of silence, in order to indicate to me when to introduce the next speaker. And between the contests, the evaluation contest will come first. And after it is concluded, we will have approximately 10 minutes break. I will let you know, according to the clock, when we will reconvene, allowing people to get up for refreshments or break time, whatever you need, as long as you come back. Do not log off the meeting. Do not leave the room. Do not log off the meeting. Stay connected. You can turn your camera off and come back within about 10 minutes of time. I believe those are all the etiquette rules. Does anyone want to interrupt me if I missed any? Hearing none, we will, and give me a moment here to make sure, is our test speaker here with us? Oh, I see her name. Okay, she's labeled herself target speaker. Yes, she is with us. We will now begin the evaluation contest. Mr. Chief Judge, wherever you are, have all of the contestants, the judges, and the functionaries been briefed?
Yes, they have.
Thank you very much. For the benefit of the judges in particular, I will now announce the order of the contestants. For those of you maybe who've never attended an evaluation contest before, we have a test speaker. The contestants then all leave the room and have 5 minutes to work on their notes. And then one at a time after that period, they will be invited back. Test speaker person, I don't know if you were told this, but during that 5 minutes, I get to interview you and we get to know you a little better. The order of the contestants for the evaluation contest. The first person will be Douglas Crook from area D1. Douglas Crook. The second contestant will be Roy Jones from area D2. Roy Jones. The third contestant will be Beth Reed from area D2. Beth Reed. Those will be our 3 evaluation contestants. And I believe I have covered everything. So now we get to sit back and relax and listen to our test speaker. Ladies, and remind you to turn off your cameras, including myself, and to also mute yourself while she speaks. When she concludes, I will turn back on my camera and speaker and take over. Our test speaker is Kathy Simons, and her speech is titled On Hold Forever. On Hold Forever, Kathy Simons.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Do you feel as if your life is on hold? Perhaps you are always waiting for someone in your life. You're at the mercy of someone else. You have to put your life on hold because you're waiting. But there's one wait that really gets to me. Fellow Toastmasters, my most irritating problem is when I'm trying to wait for a connection to a phone representative, either at a business or an organization. My life is on hold. I don't have any control. I'm caught in a web of frustration. Let me give you some examples. My husband and I were gone for 3 months this winter, from mid-November to mid-February. I had ordered for Christmas for my granddaughter Annie's Creative Kits. And it's a wonderful project to have come every month. The child can put together the kits that they send, and you feel like you're experiencing Christmas every month. While I was gone, I couldn't remember if I bought a year subscription, a quarterly subscription, and even if things had been delivered. So I went ahead and Googled first, or emailed, my question to the company. It was about 72 hours, and it was a response that said, "We will get back to you soon." I never got a response. But as I thought, I will call now and find out, talk to a person. So I'm on hold. I go through the prompts, and I'm waiting for my representative to come and speak to me. There's this soothing, but yet a very annoying music that's played. You know what I mean? It's where you're listening to a loop of music, keeps going on and on and on, and it gets in your head. And then eventually some voice comes on that says, "All representatives are busy at the current time. Your call will be taken in the order it was received." Okay, so go through the loop of music, listening to that. I start to feel like I'm at Disneyland listening to "It's a Small World After All," because it's in my head. I get excited when the music stops, and then someone answers. Well, I was waiting for 30 minutes to speak to someone, and I'm starting to get smart about it, because what I'm doing is I'm wearing an earpiece so that I can do menial things at home, tasks, while I'm waiting to speak to someone. Well, I was talking to the representative, wanting to find out when things were going to be delivered and when would the last month be delivered. I had that 30 minutes, got my answer, and at the end of the connection, I could have taken a survey. I thought, oh, I'm not going to grade this lady. I'm just going to go because it was only 30 minutes. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, is the time when this is my number one total irritation, top of the list, is when you are on hold speaking to someone, hopefully at a government agency. I was checking my mail, as I told you, with my Annie's Creative Kits, and the US or the Social Security Department sent me a letter to my home that said we had tried to give you a check for $148.50, but it was returned. We're asking for your correct address and your bank information so we can put that into your account. And I'm thinking, I just got this letter at my house. Seems like this is the right location. But on the letter, it said, call this number. So I call the number somewhere in the United States. There are prompts, but none of them matched my needs. One was, were you experiencing fraud? No. Do you have to have death benefits for a spouse that passed? No. Is there someone that you can push on the prompts that you could talk with someone? No. I was so frustrated. So I decided I'm going to go down to my local Social Security office in Yakima, about 5 miles away. And I'm going to talk to somebody in person. So I get to the door, and at the door is a guard. And his job, his number one job, is to make sure that nobody, and I mean nobody, gets in through the door unless they have a reservation. I felt like I was talking to the guard at the Wizard of Oz, and he wasn't going to let me come in and talk to the wizard. So I told him my dilemma of going through the prompts, not being able to talk to someone, and I wanted to speak with someone. He said, well, you're going to have to just call the number on the window. I said, that's going to work? He goes, call the number on the window. I know it works. So I take a picture of the number on the window, go home and start trying it. This is my journey there. I go through the prompts, pick the right location where I need to go through. listen to the annoying message that or music that comes along. Someone comes on and say, oh, wait for the next available representative. Your call will be taken in the order it was received. Got that all down. And then all of a sudden, I'm so excited because now the phone is ringing. It is actually ringing. And I feel like I'm waiting to speak to my best friend because now I'm going to get to talk to somebody. Well, all of a sudden it goes dead. I thought, what? So I tried it again. Went through the whole thing. I tried it again. The same thing. I was so irritated. So, fellow Toastmasters, I'm not sure if there's any end to this madness of being on hold forever. But wait a minute. There's that survey at the end of the conversation that you can fill out and speak your thoughts. Yes, that is where I'm going to get my revenge. That's where I'm going to get control of my life. Yes, I will have control and I'll get revenge. Mr. Toastmaster.
Yay. Thank you very much, Kathy. At this time, we will excuse the contestants and the sergeant at arms to the breakout room. This is a task that the Zoom master will handle, and let me know, Zoom master, when they are all placed out of the room. Mr. Timer, we will not start the 5-minute timing clock until we're told they're all out of the room. So don't start it now. While we wait. All the duties at a contest, Zoom Master is the one I would least want to have, and I would botch it up, and the contest would be very bad. Madam Zoom Master, everybody out of the room? You're muted. But
Thank you.
I assume you're saying they are.
The contestants are out of the room. However, we need to bring several of our judges back because they've left.
Well, bring them back. Can I continue? And Mr. Timer, start the timing of the 5 minutes.
Please go ahead and proceed, Mark, with your interview.
Okay. Sorry, judges who left, and start the 5 minutes. Mr. Timer, would you actually flash the lights, green at 3, yellow at 4, and red at 5? Otherwise, Kathy and I may just talk for hours. So I'll need a warning. Kathy, let's start by the usual. I assume you're a Toastmaster. Would you introduce your club name and number, and if you hold an office in the club? And how far back did you join Toastmasters?
Well, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My name is Kathy Simons, and I'm a member of Sun City Toastmasters Club 6365 in Yakima, Washington. And I have been in Toastmasters at least 10 years. I earned my DTM through the traditional method and going through pathways. And eventually not my super priority to get my second DTM, but that will be a priority to eventually get that.
Great. I want to ask you, congratulations on your DTM. And I've been in Toastmasters longer than you, but I have never been the test speaker or target speaker in a contest. I'm a little apprehensive about it. Have you done it before?
When I was a new member, like 6 months, Bill Schroeder asked me to be the target speaker. And I thought, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So I did it then, and I might have done it one time before. I think I have. So this is my 3rd time of doing that.
Do you find it useful to get so much feedback, or a little bit stressful, or both?
Actually, I think it's a wonderful opportunity to see how you come across. And it's interesting to listen to what the different, or not judges, but contestants come up with. So it's a great learning experience, I think. A little bit, actually, the pressure is off because I'm not in the contest. I'm just giving the speech. So that I really like that part of it.
That was a very succinct testimonial for being a test speaker. I think you might have convinced me and maybe some other people listening to give that role a chance in future contests, including the next levels coming up. Now, I don't think anybody likes being put on hold forever. I've never heard anyone say, oh, yes, I'm on hold so I can do something else. I think everyone hates it. Here's my worst experience, and I'll ask you to react to it. One time I called a hotel. It was actually a hotel in Lewiston, and I live in Lewiston. And I think maybe I was setting up a Toastmasters conference, and I was put on hold. And after about 30 seconds, a voice came on, and I said, are you the catering director? No, it was somebody else on hold.
Oh.
The hotel had somehow connected two people on hold together. And I asked where he was, and he said the Tri-Cities. And we just had a lovely conversation for a minute or two till we decided we both needed to hang up and call back because we didn't think they knew we were there anymore.
Right.
How would you have reacted? What do you think about that story?
I think I would just start telling them my horror stories about like the Social Security Department, and I couldn't go into a lot of detail about that. I'm ready to talk to the person in, I think it's our state representative, and I can't remember his name, but I feel like I want to go up because there's nobody in charge at that place. Nobody. And so I would probably have a discussion about my horror stories and, just have a laugh while we can and then move on. But it is kind of fun because we all get stuck.
Well, if I thought about it, maybe I should have tried to sell this gentleman on Toastmasters and did my elevator speech. But
there you go.
No one, I later told the hotel this, no one then or since has been able to tell me technologically, how do you connect two people waiting on hold?
Right.
It was a unique experience.
Yes.
Very, very, very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Any final words about how you would convince someone to join Toastmasters or enter a speech contest?
When I ask people about joining Toastmasters, I usually see in them a reason why it might be good, but that's probably not the best way to approach somebody. Just maybe talk to them about how much fun you have in Toastmasters, what it's meant to me, and it can do things for you too if you're interested, and invite them to hopefully soon an in-person meeting or even on Zoom. It's not too bad on Zoom.
Okay.
And to be in a contest, I really do like being the target speaker because all the pressure is off. So I guess I'm gonna put a plug in for that one.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
We will move on now to the contestants. It's not in my script, and unless somebody, an official objects, I'm going to ask you, Kathy, to leave your camera on, but mute yourself, shut off your speaker, so that way the contestants can actually look at you on the screen while they're evaluating you. I think that's a courtesy, unless one of the officials want to tell me it violates some rule. I don't believe it does. Our first contestant is already in the room, and I need to do a mic check. Doug, can you hear me, see me, and also see the timer?
I can see the timer. I can hear you. I don't have it where I can see you, but I can see Mrs. Simons.
And that's okay. You don't have to see me, and we can hear you. So that is working. Our first contestant, representing Area D1, is Douglas Crook. Please welcome Douglas Crook.
Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you, Kathy. this seems like I believe what was a opportunity for, it's called a screed. You gave yourself the opportunity to let out some of your frustrations with the situation that probably all of us have had. We've suffered the indignity and the inconvenience of being put on hold, not knowing if someone is going to call us or answer us. And you had an opportunity to talk about how you're going to use the survey at the end to get some reality back into your life, to tell these people that other people's lifetime is valuable. It was a good speech. I was able to hear you. You were consistent. You had a few hesitations, I think, with a little bit of practice. They would be smoothed out. And you had some gestures, a little bit with your hands, and you showed us where you had your earphone on so that you could speak to us. You could hear everyone. So you could, I mean, you could hear the person who eventually got back to you. And other than that, I don't have a lot of suggestions. You knew what you wanted to do. You knew what you'd been put through. And so in summation, you had a great little screed to get some of this, to set off some steam and set up sort of an agenda, and whether with a little practice to improve to cut down on the hesitations, it's got a very good speech. Thank you very much. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Doug, contestant number 1. Timers, if you would time 1 minute of silence for the benefit of the judges, and our Zoom master can bring in the second contestant into the room. Thank you, Mr. Timer. I neglected to say that at the conclusion of contestant number 1, that the evaluation contest for area D1 has been adjourned. We're now moving into a different area. And for the second contestant, we're doing a mic check. Can you see the timer? Can you hear me? And would you respond back so we can hear you?
Yes, I can see you and see the timer.
Great, and we can hear you, so we can move on. Our second contestant, coming to us from area D2, is Roy Jones. Please welcome Roy Jones.
Thank you. Kathy, it was such a privilege to be able to hear your speech and now be able to evaluate you. A great speech begins with a hook, and I felt like you had that hook right from the beginning in the title, On Hold Forever. I can certainly feel that right from the moment that I heard that title. The introduction was strong, talking about being your life on hold, being at the mercy of somebody else. You then moved into the body. In your body, you had two different examples of being on hold. One was with customer service agent, with Annie's Creative Kits, and the second one was with the Social Security Administration. Both of these had different aspects to them. If I were to give you a suggestion, I would say one is I would consolidate them into one, consolidate these two examples. Now, I understand the need to want to be as accurate to what happened as possible, but in storytelling, just like with fish tales, you can exaggerate, and that can help you have one story that involves all the relevant parts from these two other stories. Also, I was really interested in the security guard and how he represented that guard from Oz that says, ain't nobody gonna see the wizard, not know how. I do have a little bit of a flair for the dramatic. So I perhaps would have had a bit of that acting in there. Nobody's getting in, no how. I felt that the conclusion was strong. I actually wondered how you were going to close it out with time kind of stretching out, that how you would conclude. But I felt like you concluded it in a great way by talking about the survey at the end. And that was how you were going to bring it full circle and gain control of your life back, which is what you talked about in the introduction, that when you're on hold, you are at the mercy of somebody else. So in the conclusion, it was that taking a full circle to gain control again. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, contestant number 2. If we could, Mr. Timer, time 1 minute of silence for the benefit of the judges. Yes, that is true. Would the Zoom master please bring in the next contestant? I saw a message flash. Thank you, Mr. Timer. And I believe that we are ready to go. We do a mic check here. And so contestant number 3, can you see the timer and hear me and respond so we can, you're currently muted, contestant number 3. If you would unmute and so we can hear you and make sure your mic is working.
Mic check. I do need to pin, I think, in this session. I pinned in the other one, but not in this one, the timer.
Okay. Let
I'm
us know.
sorry.
That's okay.
I need to look for him. There.
That you have done that. I will note there's 25 participants in this contest, so nobody is floating away into a second page. So you are ready to go.
Other than I just closed you off my screen. One moment.
Well, I'm not important.
I am.
No, I closed the whole session off my screen. I guess
Oh, I see.
I could make it bigger. Oh, wow, it got bigger than small.
Our third contestant, who is the second contestant of Area D2, is Beth Reed. Please welcome Beth Reed.
Kathy, I knew from the moment that I heard your title, that I, and also the rest of the group that was listening to you, would be able to relate to you. It was a wonderful choice of a title. We didn't even have to hear you speak yet before we knew. So wonderful choice on that. I wanted to let you know I felt you excelled in many areas on it. Your organizational style that you chose, I believe, was entertaining. And yes, you were very entertaining. Also, that you chose a timeline. You went through a day that got more frustrating as the day went, and you gave examples all the way through, which was very, very good as you went through your day. I felt that you excelled at your gestures. You used your fingers. You used when you dialed the phone, when the loop of music went on and on through your head, typing to Google to trying to get your answers, question. The examples went on and on. You did very, very well with your gestures, your earpiece with the hair up, like you just did now with your hair up. Good timing on that, Kathy. You did wonderful with that. Your vocal variety was also fabulous. When it came to the what? Things like that, with the guard saying, no way, nobody, and I mean nobody will be able to get through here without an appointment. Well done. You combined your gestures and your vocal variety, your facial expressions. That's the third area that I feel you really excelled in. You combined them all in an absolutely excellent, entertaining, and delightful way. And your driving, that was another very good example as well. You had pauses that were very, very good and very appropriate in their uses and places where you put them. Your eyebrows went up when you asked questions. Oh, and you did very well with that. You were very, very entertaining in the whole picture, how that came together. Something that I feel that maybe you could improve on was, I only saw it, I think, twice, that when you started to think about something, you looked off to the side a little bit. And that's something that we all do, or maybe up a little bit. We all do that. And that's especially when it comes to the Zoom. I noticed that we do that quite a bit. Your gestures, we could see them. Maybe you could have scooted back just a skosh more, just to maybe see a little more of them, but most of them were right up here with your typing and your hair. So it actually worked out pretty well. Did you meet your objectives? Yes, absolutely. Was I entertained? Oh gosh, yes, I was entertained. Could I relate to you? Absolutely. And was I motivated? I'm going to throw that in as something you may not have thought about, but you know, the next time I might get the opportunity to do one of those little 30-second surveys, I think you motivated me to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, contestant number 3. This adjourns the Area D2 contest. I would ask our Zoom master, I believe, excuses the judges and ballot counters into a breakout room for the counting of the ballots for this contest. When she alerts me that they have left the room, we will take an approximately 10-minute break, but I will specify the exact time. When we all come back, if the chief judge and judges are still out of the room, we will have no choice but to wait till they come back in the room. If they take a long time doing the vote counting, so that they are in the room when we move on to the exciting international speech contest. While they're leaving the room, I want to, yes, so all judges, please exit to the breakout room. Do not leave the meeting. Don't ever press the button, leave the meeting. I want to once again thank our test speaker, Kathy Simons, For those of you who got to hear my interview with her, I think she was quite persuasive in discussing reasons why we should all try to be a test speaker in a contest at any level at some point in our Toastmasters career. You will get a lot of positive feedback and suggestions and motivation from many different people, many different perspectives. So thank you, Kathy. Madam Zoom Master, I don't see anyone named Judge left in the room. Have they all left?
They are all in the judge's room and you are clear to proceed.
My computer shows it's 6:48. Let's say a 12-minute break, straight up 7 o'clock. You're invited to stay mute so no ambient noise comes in the room, and probably keep your cameras off. But I will welcome everyone back at 7 o'clock, and hopefully the judges will be back in the room so we can move on to the next part of the meeting. And a thank you to our evaluators. We will interview them later on at the end of the competition. See you later. We're in recess. Do not leave the Zoom room. It is 7 o'clock and Madam Zoom Master, I don't think our chief judge and panel of judges and vote counters have returned to the room because I would see their black box with their name indicator if they had. We can wait a bit longer, or you could go in the room and hustle them along.
Well, you said Debbie, so I thought you meant